The Security and Sustainability Forum produces monthly webinars on issues of national security and environmental protection. Our next webinar on October 20th, starting at 2:15 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, will be addressing civic engagement for effective river management. We selected this topic because engagement is vital to getting the most from America's waterways. The webinar will be moderated by Ann Lewis, who's the founder and president of America's Waterways. I wanted to just note our two sponsors, the Horanko Group and a not-for-profit, the Newton Marasco Foundation. In addition to being the founder of America's Waterways, and which focuses on the Mississippi River, Ann brings a tremendous amount of experience in public engagement and also in water systems across the nation. Ann, why did you pick this panel? Tell us a little bit about the webinar and why you chose the panel.
Well, Ed, thank you. We picked this panel because we think that civic engagement is a critical and misunderstood part of water management projects today. We hope that to address two main points during the webinar. We want people to understand that almost all of the water projects today eventually end up with political ramifications. And we would like to have water managers, or all natural resource managers for that matter, understand how getting the public involved at the beginning of their projects will help them to overcome or to not encounter negative opposition in the middle, or even worse, at the end of their project. We picked the panel on purpose. Robin Colosimo, who's with the White House Council on Environmental Quality, is very eloquent on the topic of the new paradigm, water issues in the more layered, more complex environment. She's had a number of jobs that have enabled her to experience this. Carolyn Lukensmeyer, who's with America Speaks and founded America Speaks, actually holds a model for all of us to at least take parts away from, and where she has engaged the public on huge scales and sometimes on small scales to address policy issues and constructively bring the public's opinion into public decision making. Tim Bonneman is exploring the tools, the software tools that it will take to do collaboration outside of or across large geographic boundaries and or different discipline boundaries, and the tools that he brings are largely in the internet world.
What a great combination of skills. And what, in terms of who you're trying to reach out to, who is going to get the most from this webinar, and what is it what's more specifically are the takeaways? What are they going to learn from this session by attending?
Thanks, Ed. Again, the people that you think would be interested in this webinar are, of course, water managers or sustainability officers from corporations, but we're also interested in having economic development managers join us, and people with regulatory agencies who oversee water projects or oversee the regulations that the projects have to operate within. We know there will be local public interest groups because that's what this discussion is all about. And we also expect that a number of public engagement or civic engagement professionals will want to join us because they'll be seeing these tools applied to natural resources in a different way that they might not have thought of before. As you alluded to before, we want people who attend this webinar to understand that stakeholder involvement is critical to successful river projects. We'll start by having them understand those barriers and get a feel for the different layers in those issues today. But most especially want them to learn how effective civic engagement techniques and principles and some of the models that are out there can overcome those barriers. We expect that they'll be able to understand the complexities better, and we'll hope to isolate for them the key factors in the decision-making process where the public can become engaged and the tools that they'll want to use in order for that engagement to pay off for them in a big way so that constituencies get built for their projects rather than having the public come in opposition at the end of their project. And lastly, we'll give them contacts for where to find these tools and to find out more, either on the internet or through the connections with some of the speakers.
And sounds great. I think being really specific like that on what the participants are going to be able to take away, I think is really important. And I think you've got a great set of tools for people right in the front line to turn to and use. We hope to see you on the 20th at this webinar. I want to just thank our partners who advertise and are reaching out into the communities that Ann mentioned: the National Association for Dialogue and Deliberation, the National Association of Government Contractors, ePipeline, in GovLoop. They help us reach the audience that we're trying to advertise and promote the session to. It's a free session. Please tell your colleagues and friends about it. We think there's a great public interest here, as well as information for the professional community. We hope to see you on October 20th. It's a 90-minute session. We'll have time for questions at the end. You'll be able to ask Ann and the other panel members your specific questions about your river projects. Thank you, Ann. I think it's going to be a great session. I'm really pleased to be working with you.
Thank you.